The signers of the Declaration of Independence pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. We remember the signers who didn't lose everything, such as John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin. Today on Abbreviated Bios, we're going to look at a signer who pledged his fortune and lost it all. His name was Thomas Nelson of Virginia. Thomas Nelson Jr. was born on December 26, 1738 in Yorktown, Virginia to William and Elizabeth Nelson. He's a junior because his uncle Thomas also lived in Yorktown. Thomas was sent to England for additional learning in 1753. He graduated from Trinity College at Cambridge in 1761. When he was heading back to Virginia from his schooling, he was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses. Nelson married Lucy Grimes on July 29, 1762. They had a very happy marriage and they would have 11 children together. Nelson suffered from asthma throughout his life, and back then there were no scientific treatments for this at all. Some people tried opium, some people tried bloodletting. Nothing worked. This would eventually take his life. After Britain passed the Intolerable Acts in 1774 to punish Boston for their Tea Party, Nelson spent his own money to send supplies to Boston. When a merchant in Yorktown tried to import some tea, the Yorktown had their own Tea Party on November 7, 1774, and Nelson participated in it. It was Thomas who made the resolution in Virginia to declare independence from England. After the Virginia delegates voted yes, Nelson carried the resolution to Philadelphia, allowing independence to be debated in Congress. In July of that year, he voted for and later signed the Declaration of Independence. He had to leave Congress in 1777 after a severe asthma outbreak. Thomas Nelson was described by John Adams as a fat man, but alert and lively for his weight. He was a Christian and attended Grace Episcopal Church. He was also known for being scrupulously honest. When the Virginia House of Delegates passed a law canceling debts to loyalists, Nelson opposed it, stating, "I will pay my debts like an honest man." Nelson worked tirelessly to raise money for the war effort. He raised a lot of Virginia's share to pay for the help of the French fleet, even securing loans with his own collateral should Virginia not pay. That's going to come back to haunt him because they didn't, and Nelson was on the hook for the money. Nelson was part of the 13-member committee that helped write the Articles of Confederation, which was America's first constitution, although he'd never stuck around to sign the document. Nelson was elected governor of Virginia on June 2, 1781. To deal with the British invasion of his state, he was given near dictatorial powers. He coordinated Virginia's defense against Cornwallis. He joined Washington at the siege of Yorktown as the general of the Virginia militia, which he supplied with his own money. At the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, the British commandeered Nelson's home. Nelson offered 5 guineas to the first man who hit the house with a cannonball. 3 cannonballs are still lodged in the outer wall of the house. Nelson resigned office in November of 1781 because of ill health. His asthma was acting up again. The revolution ruined Nelson financially. The money he had loaned Virginia for the war effort was never repaid. His business was ruined. He had to sell off most of his assets to pay his debts. He was left a poor man. Yet, when asked if he felt bitter about his treatment, Nelson said, "I would do it all over again." Thomas Nelson died of an asthma attack on January 2nd, 1789. He was buried in an unmarked grave at Grace Church in Yorktown. This was to prevent his creditors from digging up his body and holding it to get money from the family. But it has a marker now. Nelson was one of America's founding fathers and a true American patriot who pledged and lost his fortune for American liberty. Thank you for listening and watching Abbreviated Bios. Please subscribe if you like this kind of thing and maybe even share it with somebody.